What's up, guys? Today's video is going to be a video about what's it like to live on a military base. And so what sparked this video is that I know not a lot of people understand the rules or the requirements that gets you on base and how certain people are allowed to live on base while other people have to live in quote unquote normal neighborhoods. So for today's video, I'm going to break down 5 things that happen while you're on a military base that doesn't necessarily happen while you're in your neighborhood that's regular. And so, for the first thing is when you have to come through a gate that's like all the way at the front, and then when you get through that gate, if you're military, you show them your military ID, and then they usually scan it to make sure that it's not overdue or has to get renewed in a way like how a driver's license does. And so once they finish with that process, then you can come down, check out the house that you bought, or you really don't own the house, you're more renting the house, and the government's the one that's paying for the house that you live in. And so there's 3 different bases that live near me in Pedro. So you have the one I live on, which is Pacific Heights, and then you have the one that's all the way up the street is Crest, and then you have the one that's down on 25th, and that's Fort Mac. And Fort Mac is the main base, while the other 2 bases are like small bases that are just meant for housing. Because when it comes to Fort Mac, it has the hospital, it has the nurses, it has the gym, the pool, and there's like wedding venues that happen at the base as well. So it's more of a actual military base versus a live-in base where you just go and go home. And then second, there's another main base called El Segundo. And that base is where you have all of your military men from every branch that go there, and they have testing, they have drills, they have assignments that they have to complete. We don't really know that necessarily how that base works. We just know that the commissary's there, the BX is there, and that where you pick up your prescriptions, that's where all that is located. And so the second thing that's a little bit different is that not everyone is allowed to get on the base. So like let's say for instance you have an uncle who has a felony or a misdemeanor. If they have one of those and they haven't been cleared yet by the state that they got it in, then legally they are not allowed on base because they are seen as a threat to the people who live here, and they're not sure if they're trustworthy enough to be here on our base. And so when you have that problem, the first thing you want to tell the people that you're trying to invite to come onto the base is to make sure that they're cleared of everything, that they're in good standing with the law, and that they have nothing else to worry about, including parking tickets, because they will get you for those. Because legally, you're supposed to go to court and finish those out, not have those still stacking up, because it will look bad when you try to get on here. And the third thing is when it comes to inviting people on base, you have to let the guards know on this base, and you have to let the guards know on Fort Mac as well, when they're coming, how long they're coming, who's coming, and how many of them are coming. Because if they don't know these 4 things and they see random people walking around the base that don't live here, they're gonna 1, be concerned, 2, wonder who let them on, and 3, how did they get here without being stopped. And so the last thing you want to do is make sure you have a list of everybody's name, so they'll keep a copy and you'll keep a copy, and they'll check off who's here, but they will hold their license or ID at the gate till they leave, because they don't, in case one of them causes trouble, they'll be able to say, oh, this is so and so, okay, now we can book them, because since they're on a government property, they can book them and send them to whichever location that they have authority to hold. And so to make sure none of that happens, we have to inform them every time, not just once, but like every single time. So like if they're staying for like a week, you gotta let them know, Or if they're staying for a week, leaving, then coming back, you still gotta let them know that time frame. And for the fourth thing is there's curfew. So what I mean by curfew, let's say you're from the ages of 2 years old all the way to 13. You have to be home by 10 or your parents get cited. And what that means is they'll get a fine for you not being home on time when you're supposed to be. Like when you still hear kids outside and it's 10:30, majority of those kids are either high school students or college students. So they can be out there for a long time. But if they're minors, then their parents have to tell them, okay, you have to be home either before the street lamps come on or before it hits 10 o'clock. Because if the cops decide to do a walkthrough or a drive through and they see kids under that age out here, then they get in trouble for that. And so sometimes you have it where we get like a free day where it'll be like Halloween. That day, you could be out till 11, and that's for everybody. As long as you have a parent with you if you're under the age of 13. And if you're over the age of 13, then that really doesn't apply to you for that much. And so the rules here aren't that strict. But when you first come onto the base, you're going to be like, why is it like this? Why is there so many rules, so many requirements that you have to abide by? But then you realize the security, the protection, and the honor system that is kept here so that people can feel safe enough to have their garages open, or safe enough to have their houses unlocked, or safe enough to be able to leave your stuff around your house and not worry that someone's going to take it later. Even though that does happen, it's at least a stability that you can have without worrying about your stuff missing. And finally, the fifth and final thing is it's a really nice view out here. Like if you want to know what I mean, I'll do a little flip around and show you guys the view that we have out here. So the footage that I just got done showing you guys is what we have outside our base. So it's like an ocean view slash beach view, if you would say. And so that it wraps up today's video. And so if you have any other questions below about what's it like to live on base, leave them in the comments. I'll try and answer them to my best of ability. And other than that, you guys have a nice day and peace.